The Real Annabelle Doll's True Story of Terror. The true story of Annabelle began in 1970 when she terrorized her first owner, forcing Ed and Lorraine Warren to take her to their occult museum for safekeeping. She sits in a glass case with a hand-carved inscription of the Lord's Prayer on her happy face, which is hidden beneath a mop of red hair. However, beneath the case is a sign that reads, "Warning, do not open." Uninformed visitors to the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut might mistake her for any other Raggedy Ann doll made in the mid-20th century. However, the original Annabelle doll is anything but ordinary. Hello everyone, welcome back to Crime Point, where we bring you the most horrifying yet mysterious stories around the globe. In today's episode, we are going to unveil some real Annabelle stories. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our amazing videos. And let's begin! This allegedly evil doll has been blamed for demonic possession, a slew of violent attacks, and at least 2 near-death experiences since her first supposed haunting in 1970. Annabelle's true stories have even inspired a series of horror films in recent years. But how much of Annabelle's tale is true? Is the real Annabelle doll a vessel for a demonic spirit looking for a human host, or is she just a child's toy used as a prop in a wildly profitable ghost story? The true story of the real Annabelle doll. The Occult Museum of the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine, examines the original Annabelle doll, which is housed in a glass case. Though she lacks the porcelain skin and lifelike features of her film counterpart, the Annabelle doll that lives in the Occult Museum of famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the couple who worked on the case, is made all the more creepy by her everyday appearance. Annabelle's stitched features, such as her half smile and bright orange triangular nose, harken back to childhood toys in simpler times. Ed and Lorraine Warren, though Ed died in 2006 and Lorraine died in early 2019, would tell you that the stark warnings scrawled across Annabelle's glass case are more than necessary. According to the well-known demonologist couple, the doll is to blame for 2 near-death experiences, 1 fatal accident, and a 30-year string of demonic activities. The first of these infamous hauntings are said to have occurred in 1970, when Annabelle was still a baby. 2 young women told the Warrens the story, which the Warrens retold for years afterward. According to legend, the Annabelle doll was a gift from her mother to a young nurse named Donna, or Deidre, depending on who you ask, for her 28th birthday. Donna, clearly pleased with the gift, returned it to her apartment, which she shared with another young nurse named Angie. At first, the doll was a cute addition to the living room, sitting on a sofa and greeting visitors with her colorful face. However, the 2 women soon noticed that Annabelle seemed to move around the room on her own. Donna would put her in the living room couch before leaving for work, only to return home in the afternoon to find her in the bedroom with the door closed. Donna and Angie then began finding help me notes left around the apartment. The notes, according to the women, were written on parchment paper, which they did not even keep at home. Furthermore, while Donna was out, Angie's boyfriend, known only as Lou, was in the apartment and heard rustling in her room as if someone had broken in. Upon inspection, he discovered no evidence of forced entry, but did discover the Annabelle doll lying face down on the ground. And other versions of the story say he was attacked upon waking up from a nap. He felt a searing pain on his chest and looked down to see bloody claw marks across it. They had vanished without a trace 2 days later. Following Lou's traumatic experience, the women invited a medium to their home to assist them in resolving their apparent paranormal problem. The medium conducted a seance and informed the women that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased 7-year-old named Annabelle Higgins, whose body had been discovered years before on the site where their apartment building was built. According to the medium, the spirit was benevolent and simply desired to be loved and cared for. The 2 young nurses reportedly felt sorry for the spirit and agreed to let her live permanently in the doll. Ed and Lorraine Warren enter the Annabelle story. Donna and Angie eventually called on Episcopal priest named Father Hagen to help them get rid of the Annabelle doll's spirit. Hagen alerted Ed and Lorraine Warren after contacting his superior, Father Cook. The 2 young ladies' problems began when they began to believe that the doll deserved their sympathy, according to Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens believed that the doll was possessed by a demonic force, seeking a human host rather than a benevolent soul, according to the Warrens' account of the case. The Warrens immediately noticed that they thought were demonic possession signs such as teleportation, the doll moving on its own, materialization, the parchment paper notes, and the mark of the beast, Lou's clawed chest. The Warrens then requested that Father Cook perform an exorcism of the apartment. Then they escorted Annabelle out of the apartment into her final resting place in their occult museum, hoping that her demonic reign had come to an end. Following Annabelle's removal from Donna and Angie's apartment, the Warrens recorded several other paranormal encounters with the doll, the first of which occurred just minutes after they took possession of her. Following the exorcism of the nurse's apartment, the Warrens strapped Annabelle into the back seat of their car and vowed not to drive on the highway in case she had accident-causing power over them in their vehicle. Even the safer back roads, however, proved too dangerous for the couple. Lorraine claimed that the brakes stalled or failed several times on their way home, resulting in near-disastrous crashes. Lorraine claimed that as soon as Ed drew holy water from his bag and doused the doll in it, the brake problem vanished. When Ed and Lorraine got home, they put the doll in Ed's study. They claimed that the doll levitated and moved around the house. Even when she was placed in a locked office in an outbuilding, the Warrens claimed that she would return to the house after. Finally, the Warrens decided to permanently imprison Annabelle. The Warrens had a custom-made glass and wood case made and inscribed the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer on it. Ed would say a binding prayer over the case for the rest of his life, ensuring that the sinister spirit and the doll remained good and trapped. Annabelle the doll hasn't moved since she was in prison, though her spirit is said to have found ways to reach out to the earthly plane. A priest visiting the Warrens Museum once picked up Annabelle and dismissed her demonic abilities. Ed warned the priest not to make fun of Annabelle's demonic power, but the young priest laughed. The priest was involved in a near-fatal crash on his way home, totaling his new car. He claimed to have seen Annabelle in his rearview mirror moments before the crash. Years later, another visitor rapped on the glass of the Annabelle doll's case, laughing at how ridiculous it was for people to believe in her. He reportedly lost control of his bike on his way home and crashed headfirst into a tree. He died instantly, and his girlfriend barely survived. She claimed that the couple had been laughing about the Annabelle doll at the time of the accident. The Warrens continue to tell these stories as proof of Annabelle the doll's horrific powers over the years, despite the fact that none of them could be verified. The young priest and motorcyclist's identities were never revealed. Donna and Angie, the two nurses who were Annabelle's first victims, never told their stories. Father Cook and Father Hagen never seemed to mention their exorcisms of her again. It appears that all we have is the Warrens' word that any of this happened. And that's it for today's video. We sincerely hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you please give it a like and share it with all your friends and family. Let us know if you have any questions or comments in the section down below. We always check it and love to hear from the viewers of our channel. Plus, make sure you press that bell icon, which will give you the notifications of all of our latest updates, after, of course, you subscribe to our channel first. Hey, we thank you so much for stopping by and watching our video today, and make sure you keep it locked right here, where we always update new material, and we always look forward to hanging out with you in our next one. Hey, have a great rest of your day, and again, thank you for watching.